Alright, so the focus of this video is going to be on the XT. We've already reviewed the main Subaru Outback lineup, so we're focused on the XT. That being said, the differences visually here on the outside to the XT are going to be basically non-existent. There's nothing here to visually distinguish this. So up front you still got the same kind of rugged look with the new cladding that's a lot more aggressive this year in 2020. We do have, as the limited model, we have the adaptive full LED headlights as well, but otherwise you're not looking at anything different up front. And then around here in the back, you've got exactly one difference here for the XT Outback. That's this nice badge here that says XT. Now other than that tiny badge, you'll be looking at the same styling. So you've got the new boomerang, partially LED taillights. There are an exhaust pipe down there, they're both hidden. And we do have a little silver accent here to make things look a little bit more luxurious on the limited and touring models. And checking out the wheels here, these also are not changed from the regular limited or touring model. They are 18-inch contrast alloys. Now if you do get that XT exclusive Onyx edition, that's going to come with 18-inch alloys but with a special all blacked out design. So if you really care about having unique wheels, that's going to be the way to go. Otherwise, Subaru leaves it up to the engine feel and the way it drives. That's going to speak for itself. So to start out with, right off the bat here, every XT Outback is going to come with their smart entry system, including the Onyx edition, which is on the lower end of the spectrum than this limited. Then of course, checking out the cabin here, the XT isn't different than the standard model. So on this limited, you'll be looking at a really quite beautiful cabin with a lot of upgraded materials and luxury features. Now that XT Onyx edition comes with a durable type of cloth seating. However, on this model as well as the touring, we're going to come with full leather seating. As you can see, a really attractive looking seat with gray on the inside, black on the outside. The touring can also get a brown interior if that is your jam. Now as far as your door trim, those same materials carry over there as well. So you have nice leatherette material across there. All four of your windows are one-touch automatic, and you do have two-person memory seating. As far as the seats themselves, these are 10-way power adjusting, but you do also have a manual thigh extension. Now materials in this cabin are going to be the same between the 2.5 and the XT, so I'm not going to just go through them obsessively, but you will notice some special touches compared to the premium model we did earlier in the year. So on this limited, we have this very, very realistic looking faux wood trim, and we also have some more stitching details all around the cabin. Now every XT will have push button start. And then starting it up here, you're not going to notice anything different audibly upon first startup, but once you put it in drive and get out on the road, I assure you, you will definitely notice a difference. Now coming back to the steering wheel, of course you do have electric power assisted steering as well as a nice leather wrap steering wheel. However, one of the things to point out is the difference between the 2.5i Limited and this XT Limited is that you will have a heated steering wheel, and then both of the touring models have that heated steering wheel. Now checking out storage briefly here, it is the same as in your standard Subaru model, so you've got two different tiers that you can open up like so. You have an adjustable cup holder, and then you've got this really deep area where you can kind of hide something down in there, as well as your two charging USBs and your aux jack. We do also have an electronic parking brake and a traditional shifter here. Of course, as you'd expect, since this is the sporty Outback, you've got manual shifting via 8 simulated gears and these paddle shifters. Now heading into reverse, we just have the standard backup camera. We do have active trajectory, parking sensors, as well as rear cross traffic alert. However, there is a front-facing camera option that will come on the XT Touring. Now, of course, this is the big thing with Outbacks. I'm not going to go super into this giant display here because we did talk about it in our full review video. But just kind of hitting the highlights here, we do have physical climate controls located right here. And then the rest of the controls are down here in the touch display. We've also got 3-stage heated seats, and additionally, you would have 3-stage ventilation if you go for that XT Touring model. Now, we have not sampled the upgraded 576 watt 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound system so far this year in the all-new Outback, so we'll go ahead and sample that right now. Sound quality is great with this system. Up top, we do have an auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes and a compass. And then looking up here at your moonroof, this is another one of those areas where the XT Limited is going to come with standard with one, whereas the 2.5i Limited would not have that standard. Alright, so that was a quick look around the cabin, and I pointed out what was different with the XT Limited versus the 2.5i. So now we'll go ahead and hand it to Mason, who will quickly check out the back areas before we take it out on the road, which is what really is important.
So of course, checking out the back door trim on this Limited XT, you are going to find a really nice one. So they're wrapped all the way through here, down in the armrest portion. You have a fully automatic window, some door storage, as well as your lovely seat design. And getting inside, you will find nice features back here. So you do have vents on this model, and down below that you have 2 charging USB ports, as well as 2-stage heated rear seats, which is a nice touch. Now, of course, your seats do also fold. Just push this little button, and they do fold right down. And on this Limited XT model, we do have a power tailgate, and it is also hands-free. So just put your hand up next to the Subaru emblem, and it will open right up. And once inside the trunk, you are going to find a large amount of space. Of course, this is an Outback, so it's a wagon, so you have plenty of space back behind the second row seats, as well as with the seats folded. And you also have these little handles right here. These will fold the seat backs. So as you can see, lots of space. You have a cargo cover as well. And here on the Limited XT, you do have a power seat on the passenger side as well.
So there we go. That was our initial acceleration here in the XT 2020 Outback. And I have to say, really felt strong off the line, you know, and then as we built in the turbo and the RPMs, you can really kind of feel the torque, you know.
So we are looking at 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque with this XT, this new XT model in the Outback. And if you're looking for a comparison to the regular Boxer 4, you're going to get quite a bit of a power increase, because that's going to be, the base model is 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. So you can do the math there. That's over 100 pound-feet more torque and about 80 more horsepower.
I'm not exactly sure when this video is going to be uploaded in the spectrum of videos, but as far as when we filmed this video, it's right after being in a Forester. So I just drove a Forester a matter of minutes ago, actually, and that shares the 182 horsepower base engine that the base Outback has. So I'm able to really, have these kind of back to back, and you can really tell a big difference in the power as soon as you take off. Of course, it is strong off the line, but where it really succeeds is where the Forester or the base Outback's engine kind of tapers off in power. This is still surging and still pushing. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, when we first took off on that first acceleration, I was very curious to see, kind of how different it would feel. I knew the numbers were quite a bit different. But that's definitely the biggest thing that you'll notice is that when you originally take off, I don't think it even feels too much different when you originally take off. But like Drew said, you just continuously have that torque that kind of pushes you back in your seat for a long time, and it almost feels unnaturally powerful for something like this. Maybe it's because we've been in the base Outback engine before, but I don't know, it seems like really powerful.
We never have driven the 6-cylinder one if you're an owner of a previous
3.6R.
3.6 Boxer 6. Yeah, she really moves. She really moves. That's one thing Subaru that's not really known for being powerful. And you usually 90% of people, end up with usually the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder
Boxer 4.
And being in this one, this really just feels like a lot more special. You're like, wow, this is really cool.
It is.
Because this engine is in the Ascent, but it weighs so much that you just don't really... It only feels adequate. Whereas in this, you start to actually get a performance benefit. Now the XT Outback, just like the normal Outback, does come with the Lineartronic CVT. As far as going around in your normal mode, there's not really any shift simulation going on. However, we do have paddle shifters, which I already mentioned, that can shift through 8 simulated gear changes.
This model does also have the auto start stop system. Just fire back up. Pretty smooth.
Just kind of taking that corner there just reminds me, this isn't necessarily all that different from the standard Outback that we drove, but this generation has taken a huge step up in the structural rigidity area. 70% more rigid than the past generation. And usually when I see big numbers like that, I'm skeptical. Oh, yeah, right. But I'm really not for this. It definitely feels a lot more balanced and way more buttoned down than the previous generation. That's kind of the thing about the Outback that's really so unique, I think, is that you balance car-like features and SUV-like features.
Yeah.
So this, of course, has as much storage as like a lot of large mid-sized crossovers, but yet you still kind of have a wagon, and you're still looking at sedan-like driving characteristics. So it does handle a lot better than your average mid-sized crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CVT in this application feels extremely responsive.
Yeah, it doesn't...
It responds immediately.
Not like a typical one.
Right. And The throttle response I also really like. Some Subarus in the past have been really, really aggressive, actually, to the point of it being like an issue just to drive around in a parking lot or something. But I have to say it's not the case here. It definitely seems about right. You know, it's still kind of aggressive enough so you really get a good takeoff, but it's not going to interfere with when you're just trying to drive around real slow. My apologies for the traffic. It's getting towards the afternoon. You know what that means.
But this is a real world scenario here. You know, you're going to be driving your Outback XT in traffic. And I would like to just go ahead and mention that I know it's in our regular full review because this doesn't really have a different ride quality than a regular Outback. But the Outback is one of those cars that it really does ride great. Like Drew was talking about, it does kind of feel like a sedan in here, which is actually a great thing because it doesn't have any body roll or anything like that. And it's just a really comfortable place to spend time. In the back, you have tons of space. And I'm just super comfortable. The seats are great. It's quiet in here. And it feels like a luxurious ride.
Really, that is an important point. By choosing the XT, you're not sacrificing the ride quality. You know, this is far from a hard edge, like, sport thing. You choose this because you want that extra oomph, and you don't really want it to be penalized in any way. And besides, for the extra money that you're paying and a little bit of a fuel economy penalty, you're honestly just living the same exact, very comfortable, you know, very luxurious Outback experience.
And speaking of the fuel economy, you might be curious as to how much worse this car is than the regular 2.5 liter Boxer 4. You're going to have this one is rated at 23 city, 30 highway, 26 combined, whereas the standard one is rated at 26 city, 33 highway, 29 combined. So that is 3 mpg different. That's really not bad, especially for those power figures that I was talking about earlier. How much more power, and I mean, like that take off like that, you're getting a lot of benefit for that 3 mpg. And it is worth noting, of course, it does have standard all-wheel drive, so you don't have to worry about that.
I also want to note that the auto start stop system seems to be a little bit smoother here in the XT versus the regular one that we drove about a month ago. I'm not sure what that has to do with. It could just be unit to unit, but or it could just be that this engine has an easier time with the starting and stopping, but it definitely feels smoother to me.
I definitely agree with that. The Boxer for the standard one and the Forester, it seems like when you come to a stop, like when it turns off, it has like a shimmy or something, and then when it takes off, it has like almost a lunge forward. With this car, it definitely blends into the background more, so I'm definitely more pleased with this XT auto start stop.
Of course, like the regular one, if you don't like it, within this setting here, somewhere right there, you can turn it off right there. Now, even though I'm sure not too many Outback owners are ever going to shift with paddles, I did put it in the manual mode, so let's give it a try. You know, I mean, it feels kind of silly, but, you know, this is a car, it's fun enough that, you know, if you want to have a little bit of extra enjoyment, why not? Why not? And it does respond quite well. As you can see, it does actually listen to what you're saying with the paddles and give you a good deal of simulation, enough that it actually has some feeling to it, you know?
Yeah.
engine note sounds pretty good.
It's still kind of just shocking to me, you know, with this XT model, just how powerful it is, and you know, it's not even that bad to kind of do a little bit of fun driving with this car. It just kind of is a new concept, but this XT does a good job with it, like Drew was talking about.
Yeah, we even got good downshift simulation. You actually do have a number there to tell you what fake gear you're in. But overall, I mean, I guess if you're wondering, is the XT the Outback to get? In my opinion, I would say yes. You know, is every Outback owner going to care about having this extra power? No, certainly not. And most of the Outback owners are going to choose the standard powertrain, and there is nothing wrong with that powertrain at all. I was actually very impressed by our drive with that as well about a month ago. But as far as what I like, I definitely, more power the merrier, right? And you know, it really does bring this car alive. This is the most agile and sportiest Outback that's ever been developed, and I think that it pairs really nicely with this upgraded engine. It makes for a nice combo, you know. In the standard version, it feels like it could handle more, and this is the more that Subaru is offering.
Alrighty, I'm not going to give you guys like an itemized breakdown of the pricing, since that isn't our full review. So what I'm going to talk about is the Limited XT versus the regular Limited model. You're going to be looking at a $4,300 price increase for opting for this XT model. And the Touring XT versus the 2.5 Touring is a $2,350 price increase.
And the reason for that is, of course, as we've gone through in the review, the XT Limited has more equipment than the 2.5 Limited, but the two Tourings are identically equipped.
And if you're looking for the final price for those models, the XT Limited is $37,745. With destination, I'm pretty sure this one as equipped is like $39,000, and the XT Touring starts at $39,700. So it'll probably be like $41,000.
And then the Onyx Edition brings that is the entry level of the XT lineup.
Well guys, hope you enjoyed watching this quick overview of the changes for the 2020 Subaru Forester XT model as opposed to the regular one. As always, if you want to go check out that regular full review that covers a lot more details, there is a link in the description. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed this video. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.